Welcome back to 843 TV. We're here now with Mr. Bob Stevens. He always covers all the news and sports here at WHHI. I always have plenty to cover.
We do always have plenty to cover. It goes year-round. It gets busier. We were, of course, very busy during football season, and now we start bouncing the ball around a little bit.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, we spoke a little bit earlier about Hurricane Matthew and how it affected everything. How's it affected the sports schedules?
Well, every football fan knows that the high school football schedules were all moved back a couple of weeks, which for Bluffton created a real problem because the football season is now infringed on the basketball season. Bluffton's still playing football while the basketball team's trying to play. Obviously, a couple of the football players are really good basketball players. The new head coach,
a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah, the new head coach, basketball coach at Bluffton High, is an assistant football coach. So they've had to rework their schedule. They've had to rework practices. Bluffton's ranked in the top 10 in the state in the preseason polls in basketball. But don't expect a whole lot out of them early on because they're still kind of finding their way around.
Several of their starters aren't there yet.
I think I'd wait till Christmas before you really start to see where the Bobcats are. They're ranked in the top 10 in the state, and Beaufort's guys are good, and I think you're going to see Hilton Head be better. I think it's a very encouraging look to the season once it finally gets started. It has already started for most everybody.
So tell us a little bit about your schedules that are going to be on, games are going to be on WHHI.
Yeah, we're going to start carrying games after the first of the year. Our first game, in fact, is Hilton Head and May River on January the 3rd, right? As soon as we get back. Hilton Head High is going to be better this year. They've already had some early season success. May River, brand new team, but you know, they've also got Brett Macy is their athletic director, who was the head basketball coach at Bluffton. So you know he's excited about basketball, and he brought one of his assistants over with him in Matt Whitmore, who's going to be the head coach at May River. So they're going to be probably a little better earlier than a lot of people might think, just because there's a focus there at May River on basketball.
Well, they won their first game the other night.
They did indeed. So they're off and running. So that'll be our first game. I think maybe our best game might be later on in the season when we have Ridgeland Hardyville playing Bluffton. They're both in the same conference, same region, and they're both ranked in the top 10 right now to start the season. So I think that's going to be a real showdown game that we'll have later on in January.
I think that's pretty impressive to have two schools that close together ranked in the top 10 in the state.
It is. You know, that happens in other parts of the state. It's good to see it happen down here where it's our schools that are that way. I mentioned that Bluffton's guys were in the top 10 in 4A, as is Ridgeland Hardyville. They're ranked 5th to start the season. They have had great success over the last few years in high school basketball. Beaufort's team is ranked in the top 10 as well, so in 4A. So there's some good basketball.
And Coach Faber, Jeremiah of Ridgeland Hardyville, has been an incredible coach, been there a lot of years, and he's had a lot of success.
Absolutely, and maybe this is the year they get over the hump and get it all. Yeah.
So Bob, tell us again, who are the teams to watch?
Well, yeah, I just mentioned, I think everybody's got something to watch for this year. I think you know, Whale Branch and Battery Creek are always better than people think they're going to be at the start of the season. They grow as the season comes along. As I mentioned, Ken Updike's got things going now, I think, the way he wants them at Hilton Head High. Bluffton may have the two best players in the region. A couple of guys who are currently playing football still, and Jermaine Patterson and Tyrese Sandgren. Jermaine Patterson was the best player in the area as a freshman. Now he's still only a junior, and he's obviously even that much better. So I'm really looking forward to see how much he has progressed in yet another year. He's raised his game every year, and I think we're looking at a Division I talent in Jermaine Patterson.
Yes, he's definitely impressive, and he's one. You mentioned Tyrese. What about some of the other athletes on some of the other teams?
Well, there are some good players again that. I think the teams are still kind of coming together. I don't think you can say he's going to be really good or he's going to be really good now. I think it's a growing type of thing where we're going to see players gradually get better as the season goes along. And by the end of the season, I could answer that question. Say, yeah, this guy, I knew this guy was going to be really good from the beginning.
Well, we talked about boys. Let's talk about some girls hoops. That's growing and it's exciting. I know Hilton Head's looking forward to a better season this year, and they started out. So tell us about some of the female teams that we can watch.
Yeah, Hilton Head High's girls team won a game already. So they're already over that hump after a really rough season last year. with a lot of injuries and a lot of turnover in the program, but they're going to be better. Ridgeland Hardyville, again, is really good. They're ranked in the top 10 in 3A, and Whale Branch is in the top 10 in Class 2A. So we're going to see, I think, north of the Broad and kind of west of the Broad in Ridgeland Hardyville, some great talent on the girls' side. They try just as hard. I think folks should go support them because it's exciting stuff, and you watch them get better. And we haven't talked about the private schools yet, but there's some great talent at the private schools. Hilton Head Christian is always very good at girls basketball. The Hilton Head Prep guys and Christian and Thomas Hayward will all have their battles, of course, amongst the guys, and we're looking forward to that. We're going to have on WHHI. We've got 6 games, so that's 12 possible teams. We've got 10 different schools involved of the 12, so we're not focusing in on one. We're going to give you a little bit of look at everybody this year, and we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That's exciting. Well, I, for one, encourage everyone to come out and support the local athletes and see them play, get into the game, and meet other parents in the school. Any other things you want to share?
Another area, very little is ever said about wrestling in the Low Country. We're even better at that than we are at basketball and football. There are teams. Hilton Head is very good this year. Beaufort is going to be very good this year. So we've got better teams. Battery Creek, I think, brings back a couple of 3 state champs. Whale Branch, they're all good. So our wrestling teams are even better. And go out and support those guys too, because nobody, except maybe the swimmers, works as hard as the wrestlers do during their seasons.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I know I'm excited. I hope you all will be, and come on out to all of the local schools in the Low Country. Support your local athletes, and thank you for joining us today for another episode of 843 TV,
where communities come to speak.